There
The
you
night
go.
was silent.
You're safe
Snow
now,
fell
little
slowly over an
I won't
empty
let the cold
industrial
get
street
you.
on the edge of the city. Old buildings stood like tired giants, their windows dark, their walls cracked by time. No cars passed. No people walked here anymore. Even the wind felt careful, as if it did not want to be noticed. At the far end of the street stood an old human garage. Its metal door was half broken. Rust covered the walls. Inside, broken machines, empty boxes, and forgotten tools lay scattered on the floor. The place smelled of oil, cold iron, and dust. It was the kind of place the world had forgotten. Then something moved. A small shape crawled slowly through the snow toward the garage. It was low to the ground, shaking with every step. Its breathing was weak and uneven. It was a dragon, but not the kind the galaxy feared. This dragon was small, very small, no bigger than a large dog. Its wings were torn and folded close to its body. Cracks ran across its blue-black scales, glowing faintly like dying stars. Ice clung to its skin, blood mixed with snow beneath it. The little dragon stopped at the garage door. It lifted its head with effort and let out a soft sound. Not a roar, a cry. It sounded like a lost child calling for help in the dark. The dragon had been running for days. Alien hunters had chased it across ruined cities and frozen wastelands. Its mother had pushed it into an escape tunnel and turned back to fight. The dragon had felt her fire fade. It had not looked back. Now the cold was winning. Its body shook harder. Its vision blurred. The glowing light under its scales flickered weakly. With the last of its strength, the dragon crawled inside the garage. The door creaked softly as it moved. Inside, the air was warmer. Not warm enough, but better than the snow. The dragon collapsed near a broken car and curled its tail around its body. Its breathing slowed. Outside, far above the clouds, something watched. A sharp blue light scanned the city. The hunters were close. Inside the garage, the dragon tried to hide. It pulled itself behind the car, pressing against the cold metal. Its eyes stayed open, wide and afraid. Dragons were born to fight. That was what the galaxy believed. But this one had never fought anyone. It had only run. Footsteps echoed outside. Heavy, slow, human. The dragon's heart raced. Weak sparks of energy ran across its scales, then faded. It did not have the strength to breathe fire. It did not even have the strength to crawl away. The garage door moved. Light spilled inside. A human man stepped in. He was tall, wearing an old jacket and work boots. His face was tired. His hands were rough, stained with oil and dirt. He carried a small toolbox in one hand. His name was Evan. He came here every night after work. This garage was his quiet place, a place where broken things could rest. Evan took 2 steps inside and stopped. He felt it. The air was wrong. Cold, but not natural. Heavy, like something was holding its breath. Then he heard it. A soft sound. A small, shaking cry. Evan slowly turned his head toward the broken car. His heart skipped. 2 glowing eyes stared back at him from the dark. Evan froze. The stories flooded his mind. Dragon attacks. Burned worlds. Fleets destroyed in seconds. Monsters of fire and death. His body screamed at him to run. But the eyes he saw were not angry. They were afraid. The dragon tried to pull itself back, but failed. Its claws slipped on the floor. It made another small sound, weaker than before. Evan's breath caught in his chest. He lowered the toolbox. Slowly, carefully. He took 1 step forward, then stopped. He did not raise his hands. He did not shout. He simply knelt down. The dragon watched him, shaking. Evan saw the wounds, the torn wings, the eyes stuck between cracked scales. This is bad, he whispered to himself. Outside, a low hum filled the air, almost too quiet to hear. Alien scanners. Evan did not know that sound, but his instincts did. Something was hunting. The dragon's eyes shifted toward the door. Panic filled them. It expected pain, fire, death. Evan did something no one in the galaxy had ever done. He spoke softly. "It's okay," he said. The words sounded strange in the empty garage. The dragon did not move. Evan slowly removed his jacket. He placed it on the ground, not close, not far. A simple human thing. Warm. Safe. The dragon stared at it. Then Evan whispered the words that would change everything. "You're safe now." The scanners outside paused. The dragon's glowing scales flickered. For the first time since it was born, the little dragon believed someone. And the galaxy was about to pay attention. The human, who should have run. The little dragon did not move. It stayed frozen behind the broken car, its small chest rising and falling fast. The jacket lay on the cold floor between it and the human, like a strange offering. The dragon's eyes stayed locked on Evan, watching every breath, every blink. Evan stayed still. His heart was beating so loud he was sure the creature could hear it. His mind screamed at him to stand up, turn around, and run as fast as he could. This was a dragon. Even a small one could kill him in seconds. But the dragon didn't attack. It only trembled. Outside the garage, the low hum grew stronger. The walls vibrated slightly. Snow fell harder now, swirling in sharp patterns, as if the sky itself was nervous. Evan slowly looked toward the half-open garage door. Something was out there. He didn't know what it was, but he felt it watching. He looked back at the dragon. "If you're dangerous," he whispered, more to himself than to the creature, "you're doing a terrible job of it." The dragon let out a weak sound, almost like a breath breaking. Its claw twitched, scraping softly against the floor. A thin line of blue light pulsed under its scales, then faded again. It was dying. Evan realized that with sudden, painful clarity. This thing wasn't hiding to attack. It wasn't waiting to strike. It had come here to survive. Evan made a choice. He stood up slowly and walked toward the garage door. Every step felt heavy, like the air itself was trying to stop him. When he reached the door, he pulled it down just enough to leave a narrow gap. The hum outside changed. Sharper, angrier. A cold, metallic voice echoed through the street, distorted but clear enough to understand. "Human, you are sheltering a classified organism." Evan's blood ran cold. He stepped back from the door, placing himself between the voice and the dragon. "There's no one here," Evan said, his voice steady despite the fear crawling up his spine. A pause. Then the voice replied, "Lies detected. Step aside." A beam of pale blue light cut through the gap in the door, scanning the garage. It passed over old machines, broken tools, and rusted metal. The dragon saw the light and panicked. Its body reacted on instinct. Blue symbols flared across its scales, glowing brighter than before. The air cracked with energy. The scanner flickered. Outside, something mechanical screeched. The voice returned, no longer calm. "Unknown interference. Repeat scan." Evan didn't understand what had just happened, but he understood enough. The dragon was doing this. It was protecting itself, or maybe protecting him. "Hey," Evan whispered, turning back toward the dragon. "Easy. You're okay." The dragon's glow dimmed slightly, as if responding to his voice. The scanner tried again. This time, it failed completely. Outside, metal footsteps moved closer. Heavy, not human. Evan clenched his fists. He was just a mechanic. He fixed engines, not galactic problems. He had no weapons, no armor, nothing but an old garage and a terrified creature behind him. The voice spoke again, louder now. "Human resistance noted. Final warning." Evan laughed quietly. It surprised even him. "Funny," he muttered. "I didn't plan on being brave today." He reached up and slammed the garage door shut. The sound echoed down the street like a gunshot. For a moment, everything went silent. Then the impact came. Something hit the door from the outside. Hard. The metal bent inward slightly. Dust fell from the ceiling. The dragon cried out. Evan turned just in time to see it collapse fully onto the floor. The glow under its scales faded to almost nothing. Its eyes fluttered. "No, no, no," Evan said, rushing over. He dropped to his knees beside the dragon. Up close, the damage was worse than he thought. Burn marks, deep cuts, ice frozen into open wounds. "This is bad," he whispered again, but now his voice shook. Another impact hit the door. A crack spread through the metal. Evan grabbed an old welding blanket and carefully pulled it over the dragon, wrapping it gently. The creature barely reacted. Its breathing was shallow now. "Stay with me," Evan said, though he didn't know why he said it. He didn't even know if dragons understood words. Outside, the voice changed tone. Human sheltering confirmed. Authorization granted for force. Evan's eyes widened. He looked around the garage desperately. Then he saw it. An old control panel on the far wall, covered in dust. Forgotten. Part of a defense system from a past war, long before the city was abandoned. Human-made. Old. Dangerous. Evan swallowed. Outside, weapon charged. Inside, a human stood over a dying dragon. And for the first time in galactic history, both of them were afraid. And neither of them was alone. When the hunters stepped inside, the garage shook. Not from explosion, but from pressure. The air itself felt heavier, like something invisible was pushing down on the building. Dust fell from the ceiling in thin lines. Tools hanging on the wall rattled softly, tapping like nervous fingers. Evan stood still. The old garage door bent inward again, this time slower, stronger. The metal screamed as if it knew it would not survive much longer. Behind Evan, the little dragon made a weak sound. He turned. The dragon's eyes were half open now. The blue glow under its scales was barely there, like the last light of a dying fire. Its small body trembled, not with fear, but with cold and pain. Evan clenched his jaw. "Don't you dare die on me," he whispered. "I don't even know what you are yet." The dragon did not answer. Outside, the hunters stopped hitting the door. That silence was worse. A new sound followed. A sharp hiss. The garage door began to melt. Not burn, melt. The metal softened and dripped like liquid, glowing white at the edges. A perfect circle slowly formed, cut by something far more advanced than human tools. Evan backed away, placing himself fully in front of the dragon. He picked up a long metal rod from the floor. It was useless, but it made him feel less empty-handed. The circle in the door fell inward with a heavy clang. Cold blue light flooded the garage. 3 figures stepped inside. They were tall and thin, their bodies covered in dark armor that looked alive, shifting slightly as they moved. Their faces were hidden behind smooth masks, glowing with unreadable symbols. Alien hunters. Each step they took was slow, calm, confident. They knew they were stronger. One of them raised a weapon. It hummed softly, the sound sharp enough to hurt Evan's ears. "Human," the lead hunter said. Its voice echoed from everywhere at once. "Step aside." Evan did not move. "There is nothing here for you," the hunter continued. "The hatchling is property of the Galactic Authority." Evan laughed once, short and bitter. "Funny," he said. "It crawled into my garage. That makes it my problem." The hunters paused. That reaction was not in their data. Human logic detected. The hunter said coldly, "It is inefficient." "Yeah," Evan replied. "We get that a lot." The hunter took one step forward. The temperature dropped instantly. Frost spread across the floor, crawling toward Evan's boots. Behind him, the dragon stirred. The hunter tilted its head. "Move," it ordered, "or be removed." Evan tightened his grip on the metal rod. "No." The word felt small, but echoed loudly in the quiet garage. The hunter raised its weapon. Before it could fire, the dragon screamed. Not loudly, but powerfully. The sound cut through the air like glass breaking. Blue light exploded from the dragon's body. Symbols burned across the walls. The old machines sparked and died. The alien weapon flickered wildly. The hunters stumbled back. Energy surge detected. One of them said sharply. The dragon lifted its head with effort. Its eyes burned bright now, full of fear and anger. The light around it pulsed like a heartbeat. Evan felt the heat on his skin. The dragon was not attacking. It was reacting, protecting him. "Easy," Evan said quickly, turning toward it. Hey, it's okay. You don't have to fight." The dragon's scream faded into a low, broken sound. The light flickered again, then weakened. The hunters recovered fast. "Terminate the human," the leader said. 2 weapons locked onto Evan. Time slowed. Evan saw everything clearly. The glowing barrels, the cracked floor, the dragon's tired eyes behind him. He thought of all the times he had fixed broken machines no one cared about. Funny how he had become one of them. He moved without thinking. Evan slammed his hand down on the old control panel on the wall. The garage roared to life. Red warning lights flashed. Ancient systems powered on with deep, angry sounds. Heavy metal plates dropped from the ceiling, slamming into place around the walls. Human defense tech. Old, loud, brutal. The alien weapons fired, but the shots hit reinforced steel and exploded harmlessly. Shock rippled through the hunters. "This structure is armed," one said. Evan grinned, fear and adrenaline mixing in his chest. "Told you," he said. "Broken things still work, if you don't give up on them." The hunters fired again. The garage answered. Hidden turrets emerged from the walls, firing solid metal rounds. No energy beams. No clean shots. Just force. The hunters staggered. One was thrown back against the wall, its armor cracked. They retreated toward the door. "This encounter is not efficient," the leader said. "Withdrawal authorized." In seconds, they were gone. Silence returned. The lights flickered off. The garage went still. Evan collapsed to his knees, breathing hard. He turned to the dragon. It lay motionless. His heart dropped. "No, no, no," he whispered, crawling closer. Then the dragon's eye opened. Just a little. It looked at Evan, and for the first time, it reached out. Its small claw rested against Evan's hand. Not in fear, in trust. Outside, far beyond the city, something ancient stirred. The hunters had failed, and the galaxy had just noticed one human who refused to step aside. The memory inside the fire. The garage was quiet again. Too quiet. Smoke drifted slowly through the air, mixing with the smell of burnt metal and old oil. Red warning lights blinked once, then died. The ancient defense system shut down, exhausted after one final fight. Evan stayed on his knees. His hand was still under the small dragon's claw. It was warm, alive. Evan let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "That's it," he whispered. "Easy, you're still here." The dragon did not pull away. Its breathing was slow and shallow. The blue light under its scales was faint but steady, like a candle protected from the wind. Then something strange happened. The light began to change. It did not grow brighter. It grew deeper. The air around Evan shimmered, bending softly as if the garage itself was sinking into water. The sounds of the world faded. The hum of the city, the distant wind, even Evan's own breath. Evan blinked. The garage disappeared. He was no longer kneeling on a cold concrete floor. He was standing on black glass. A vast sky burned above him, filled with stars and fire. "Okay," Evan muttered, his voice echoing strangely. "This is new." In the distance, enormous shapes moved through the flames. Dragons. Not small, not weak. These dragons were massive, their wings stretching across the sky like living storms. Their scales shone with ancient power, glowing gold, blue, and crimson. And they were dying. Evan watched in horror as alien warships surrounded them, firing weapons that tore through dragon wings and shattered armored scales. The air was filled with screams, not just loud ones, but emotional ones. Pain, rage, loss. This was not a battle. This was a hunt. Evan felt something twist in his chest. "This is your memory," he whispered. The little dragon stood beside him now, not injured, not weak. Still small but whole. Its eyes were full of sadness, not fear. It looked at Evan. Then the memory shifted. He saw dragon cities burning. Towering structures made of crystal and stone collapsing under alien fire. Eggs, hundreds of them, lying broken in smoking nests. He saw dragons shielding their young with their bodies. He saw mothers refuse to flee. Evan's hands clenched into fists. "They wiped you out," he said quietly. The dragon lowered its head. Another vision came. A single escape tunnel deep underground. A dragon mother pushing her hatchling forward, her wings torn, her fire weak. "Run," the memory whispered. The tunnel sealed. Fire roared. The mother never returned. Evan swallowed hard. "I'm sorry," he said, though the words felt too small. The world shifted again. Now Evan saw something worse. He saw why the galaxy feared dragons. He saw dragons enslaved, chained, forced to power alien weapons, used as living reactors, their fire drained until nothing remained. Dragons had not been monsters. They had been resources. Evan's anger burned hot in his chest. You were never the threat, he said. You were the excuse. The little dragon looked up at him. Slowly, carefully, it placed its forehead against Evan's chest. The contact sent a shock through him. Suddenly, Evan felt everything. Cold, pain, fear, loneliness, but beneath it all, hope. The dragon showed him one last memory. A prophecy, not words. A feeling. A future where dragons no longer burned alone. A future where humans stood beside them. Evan stumbled back as the vision shattered. The garage rushed back into place. Cold air hit his face. The smell of oil returned. The dragon collapsed again, weak and small, as if the memories had taken everything it had left. Evan caught it gently. His hands were shaking. They did this to you, he whispered. To all of you. The dragon's eyes opened slightly. A faint image formed in the air between them. Stars and a symbol Evan didn't recognize. A royal mark. Evan's breath caught. You're not just any dragon, he said softly. Outside, far beyond Earth, alarms began to sound. The hunters had reported failure, and ancient dragon clans were listening. The galaxy had learned something dangerous. A human had seen the truth, and he would never forget it. When humans stop hiding, the dragon's body grew heavy in Evan's arms. Its glow faded until only a thin line of blue light remained beneath its scales. The memory link had taken more than Evan understood. The little dragon had shown him the truth, and it had nearly broken itself to do it. Evan lowered the dragon onto the welding blanket and wrapped it carefully. Rest, he whispered. I've got you. But the universe did not care about rest. Outside the garage, the night changed. The air vibrated with a deep, steady sound, different from before. Stronger. Organized. This was not a small hunting party. This was a purge. Evan felt it in his bones. The power in the garage flickered back on by itself. Old screens blinked to life, showing cracked camera feeds. What Evan saw made his blood run cold. 6 alien ships hovered above the street. Soldiers poured out in perfect lines, weapons raised, movements precise and cold. These were not hunters acting alone. This was an execution force. A new voice echoed through the garage, clearer, louder, filled with authority. Human Evan Carter, it said. You're charged with obstruction of galactic order. Evan stared at the screen. They knew his name. Step away from the dragon hatchling. The voice continued. Compliance will be rewarded with a painless termination. Evan barked a laugh. Wow, he said, rubbing his face. You aliens really know how to sell a deal. The dragon stirred at the sound of the voice. Fear rushed through it again. Its claws dug weakly into the floor. Sparks danced along its scales, wild and uncontrolled. Evan knelt beside it. Hey, he said softly. Look at me. Not them. The dragon's eyes met his. The sparks calmed. Outside, soldiers moved closer. Their boots hit the ground in perfect rhythm. Each step echoed like a countdown. Evan stood. He looked around the garage. Broken machines. Scrap metal. Old tools. Rusted parts no one wanted anymore. This place was a graveyard of human failure. Or so everyone thought. Evan walked to the control panel again. He wiped the dust away, revealing scratched letters beneath. Civil Defense Node, Model H9. Old Earth tech. Designed when humans still believed survival was worth fighting for. Evan powered it up fully. The system screamed in protest. Lights flared. Circuits overheated. The garage shook as hidden systems activated that had not been used in decades. Outside, the alien commander paused. Human, it warned. Your technology is obsolete. Evan leaned against the panel, breathing hard. Yeah, he said. So am I. Let's see which of us lasts longer. The street exploded into chaos. Metal plates rose from the ground, forming barriers. Long-forgotten rail cannons unfolded from beneath the buildings. Drones, ugly, loud, and solid, launched into the sky. Human weapons did not glow. They hit. Alien soldiers were thrown back as solid rounds smashed into their shields. The shields flickered, struggling to adapt to weapons that didn't follow modern rules. This is impossible, one alien shouted. No, Evan muttered. This is human. Inside the garage, the dragon watched. For the first time, it did not see humans running. It saw them standing. The dragon pushed itself up, pain burning through its body. Blue light gathered again, steadier now. Evan turned just in time to see it. "No," he said quickly. "You're not ready." The dragon looked at him and refused. It spread its torn wings. A pulse of energy rolled out, syncing with the human defenses. The old machines hummed louder, stronger, as if responding to the dragon's presence. Human steel and dragon fire, working together. The alien commander's voice returned, strained. "Retreat. This alliance is unacceptable." The ships began to pull back. But one stayed. A massive vessel, larger than the rest, lowered toward the street. The commander spoke one final time. "This is not over, human. You have awakened something ancient." Evan watched the ship disappear into the clouds. He looked down at the dragon. Its eyes were bright again, not with fear, but with resolve. Evan knelt beside it. "Yeah," he said quietly. "I think we both did." Far away, across the stars, dragon signals activated for the first time in centuries. The clans had felt it. A human had chosen to fight, and humans never fight alone. When the dragon chooses a human, the night did not return to normal. Even after the alien ships vanished, the sky above the city stayed uneasy, as if it remembered what had just happened. Smoke drifted upward in slow spirals. Burn marks scarred the street. Human defenses powered down one by one, their final hums fading into silence. Evan sat on the garage floor. He was exhausted. His hands shook, not from fear now, but from the weight of what he had done. He had stood against the galaxy. He had won, if only for a moment. The little dragon lay beside him. It was breathing better now. The blue light beneath its scales pulsed slowly, calmly. The wounds on its wings were still there, but they no longer bled. Evan noticed something strange. The dragon was warmer, not burning hot, just alive. "That's new," Evan whispered. The dragon lifted its head and looked at him. This time, there was no fear in its eyes, no panic, only focus. Then it did something Evan did not expect. It stood, slowly, carefully, on shaking legs, but it stood. Evan's heart skipped. "Hey," he said gently. "Easy. You don't have to prove anything." The dragon ignored him. It stepped closer, very close, close enough that Evan could feel its breath on his chest. The dragon lowered its head and touched Evan's forehead with its own. The world stopped. A deep sound filled the air, not loud but powerful, like a bell ringing somewhere inside Evan's bones. Blue symbols formed around them, floating in the air, ancient and beautiful. Evan gasped. What is this?" The dragon did not speak with words. It spoke with choice. Evan felt it clearly. Dragons did not bond easily. They chose one protector in their lifetime, one being they would trust above all others. The dragon was choosing him. "No," Evan whispered. "You don't understand. I'm not special. I'm just." The bond locked. Heat rushed through Evan's body, not painful, but intense. He felt strength, courage, and a sense of purpose that did not come from him alone. The dragon stepped back. A faint symbol burned briefly on Evan's arm, then faded. A mark, a bond mark, far beyond Earth. Ancient alarms rang. Dragon elders across the galaxy felt it at the same moment. A royal hatchling had bonded with a human. "That's impossible," one elder hissed. And yet, another replied, "It has happened." Back in the garage, Evan collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. "Okay," he said weakly. "We need rules. A lot of rules." The dragon tilted its head. Then, very carefully, it curled its tail around Evan's leg. A simple gesture, protective, personal. Before Evan could react, every screen in the garage lit up again. Not alien this time. Dragon signals. Symbols filled the displays, old, proud, and powerful. A single message translated slowly. "The air lives. The bond is made. Hold fast." Evan stared. "Air," he repeated softly. The dragon looked at him and nodded. Outside, something enormous moved in orbit. Not hostile. Watching. Waiting. Evan swallowed. "So," he said, forcing a small smile. "Guess we're family now." The dragon let out a quiet, warm sound. Not a roar, a promise. And across the galaxy, old enemies began to panic. Because dragons did not choose lightly, and humans did not let go. When the galaxy bowed, morning came slowly. Sunlight touched the broken street, shining on burned metal and silent machines. The city looked the same as always, old, forgotten, tired. But the galaxy was not the same anymore. Evan stood outside the garage. He had not slept. The bond mark on his arm still felt warm, like a quiet heartbeat under his skin. The little dragon sat beside him, calmer now, stronger. Its scales reflected the sunlight, no longer dull, no longer cracked. Above them, the sky darkened, not with clouds, with shadows. Evan looked up. His breath stopped. Massive shapes appeared high above the atmosphere. One by one, they broke through the clouds, vast, powerful, and ancient. Dragons. Not ships. Real dragons. Their wings stretched across the sky like living mountains. Their scales shone with colors no human words could describe. Fire burned gently in their throats, controlled, respectful. People began to come out of buildings. First one, then dozens, then hundreds. No one screamed. No one ran. They watched in silence as the impossible filled the sky. The little dragon stepped forward. It raised its head and roared, not in anger, in command. The sound rolled across the city, deep and strong. The great dragons answered, their voices shaking the ground. Then something happened that would be remembered forever. The dragons lowered their heads. All of them. To the ground. To the garage. To one human. Evan's legs felt weak. He said quietly. I think they're looking at us. A massive dragon descended slowly, landing at the far end of the street. The ground cracked under its weight. Its eyes, ancient and wise, focused on Evan. The dragon spoke, not with sound, but with presence. Protector. Evan swallowed. I didn't plan this, he said. I just helped. The great dragon lowered its massive head until I was level with Evan. That is why you were chosen. Around them, dragon warriors formed a wide circle, not threatening, but guarding. Above the city, alien ships appeared, but they did not attack. They stopped. They watched. They understood. The dragon leader turned its gaze toward the stars. The air was hunted. The humans stood. The bond was made. A pulse of energy spread across the sky. Every alien signal, every authority channel, received the same message. Humans are under dragon protection. Any harm will be answered. Silence followed, then retreat. Alien ships turned away and vanished. Evan let out a slow breath. The little dragon moved closer to him and pressed its side against his leg. Safe. Chosen. Family. The great dragon spoke one final time. The age of fear is over. The age of choice begins. The dragons rose into the sky, one by one, until only the little dragon remained. Evan looked down at it. So, he said softly, a small smile on his tired face. Garage still needs fixing. The dragon let out a warm, happy sound. Fire flickered gently in its mouth, not to burn, but to light the way. Far across the galaxy, history was rewritten, not by weapons, not by power, but by a human who whispered,